folks, it's been 6 weeks. I've got a chunk of development video. Let's take a look at that first. We could break that box open. We could basically turn it inside out and have hardware that could be expanded as needed, like tiling out a bigger ballroom floor after the dancing has already started. If we're going to make Lotus 3 right in here, we're going to need to clear out these two, to extend these down, redo some of this wiring. We could plug up Lotus 3 internally, power it up, get it updated, shut it down, then put in the data-only connectors between them, and bring it back up. This is the building, extending the ballroom floor after the dancing has already started. So the thought is, what do you think the odds are that we could do all this and not disrupt this current runway? I think the odds are very, very low. But what the hell? Let's give it a try. Okay, so now I have another power injector, which we can use on this one, and we will inject power any place convenient, like here. Okay, now we're going to need, well, we can just leave this for the moment. So, but the point is, we can now all get power to this, assuming this is working. So we can disconnect this. All right. Disconnect this. All right. Moment for Lotus 3. Much trouble. That's it, I think. We will see. Well, I think it's time for tiles. Alright. Once again, we are going for the fresh G-series tiles, and we will revisit the older ones in the later Lotuses. So here we go. All right, DPs. I have got power injector with a Y splitter. I'm not sure if this is a good Y splitter or not. Brand new power supply. 12 volts at 5 amps. So it claims. 121 watts. So I think we are ready to power up Lotus 3 for the first time. We are disconnected. We are fully connected internally. Let's see what happens. Alright, now we're up to 170 watts. 170 watts as this thing's booted. Let's see what we get. See you later. Looks good. Okay, so let's just shut these down for now. Get a tile in here to program these, and then think about putting in the data only connectors. Whoa, this is really hot. This is not a good one. Wow. So, this, I don't have, this is not a good, wow. They're still pretty warm. So whatever taking, from 120 to 170, so pushing 50 watts through this thing is too much for this. Jeez. All right. For now, anyway, I'm just ditching this Y splitter because it sucks. All right. So I've now put in an older G series here, just connected with a single connection. So hopefully it'll update all these guys. In fact, hopefully it'll update them to the 2D printer. So again, we're running between 165 and 170 change watts for Lotus 1, Lotus 2, Lotus 3, the laptop, and the Fuji, plus the UPS overhead. Well, I can live with that for now. All right, I think we are getting to the point of trying to plug these up with the data only connectors. Let's see if this is going to work. I think. So we're going to power down Lotus 3, unplug it, put in the power only connectors, I'm sorry, the data only connectors, and then power it up. Alright, so now if we plug in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, nothing should happen. We shall see. last one. Oh. Oh, and there it is. What a bummer. Oh well. So that's it. That's the birth of Lotus 3. Lotus 3 is fine. I have had a Eugene run going on it for a couple of weeks, I guess, almost now. That'll be up soon. There's a bunch of issues about that. So the watt meter that's measuring the whole thing, we're at 170 watts for 3 Lotuses. I don't think we're going to be able to go all the way to 7 and be running it through a single UPS and a single this, that, and the other thing. Have to deal with that. The bigger, more immediate issue is heat. In some of these demos, once you know to look for it, that things often seem to be running slowly in the middle, and they run quicker around the edges. And it's true; it's not an illusion, because the edges have 2 advantages. Number one, they have fewer other tiles connected to them, so they have less load on them. They only have to talk in 2 or 3 or 4 directions instead of 6 directions. But also, they're closer to fresh air, and once these tiles heat up above a bunch of thresholds that I stuck in there, they start cranking down the CPU. I've been planning on doing something to get CPU fans or something to stick in the bookshelves behind it to pull air out so that there's some positive flow going through the thing. It's time to move on that. All right, so that's the development story. I took the month of March off. It's been 6 weeks. The goals was to get GDRO user space spikes. What the heck is that? That's a generalized distributed ring oscillator. This is the new idea for a way to have a low-level best effort sync among the tiles to agree whose turn it is, and they pass a token around in a nice, robust, self-stabilizing way. Got nowhere. Did nothing on it. We'll talk about that in a sec. Build Lotus 3 did it. Make Search Quiet Wake, the science fiction story, more accessible to try to get it out there. I mean, the point of, I'm convinced that there is an audience for the story as it stands, but since part of the whole point of doing outreach with a science fiction story is to try to reach a little bit of a bigger audience, it seems to me it's legitimate to try to say, is there some easy steps that we could do to make the story a little bit more easy for people to get their heads around? I have done some work around that. The other goal was have some fun. So all right, so the development story is Lotus 3. Next step is cooling. The research story was, getting this redo, bottom up, best effort, be more UDP-ish and less TCP-ish rather than assuming permanent reliable stream, just take it as it lays. Didn't work on it at all. Now, partly that was because I had a terrible writer's block on a separate bit of writing, just regular scientific writing that I was supposed to be due, that wasted a ton of time. Well, invested a ton of time, whatever you think. But also, I am getting concerned about how much big hacking I still have in me. It's hard to find 4 hours to put together, and if I do, it's hard to stay on task. I need some of these study drugs or something. I don't know. So that's a concern I have. I haven't given up. There's always been excuses so far, and I still want to go on this, but it's taken long enough that just being honest, I don't know. Maybe things are changing. We'll see about that going forward. So that's the research story. Not very satisfying. There's a little bit more about development. So I did order one of these USB temperature sensors that supposedly you can talk to with Linux, and you can, and it's got its own set of problems and so on and so forth. Like it comes out, 5 degrees centigrade off. So you have to add numbers to it. And I think what's really going on is you're supposed to use the software, the Windows only software mini CD that comes with it. to calibrate the thing, and just out of the box it's not calibrated properly. But so far a constant offset seems to be not too far off, and so now it's recording in the room. It's called the dark room, where the grid is growing. We're watching the temperature start to go up and down and so forth. So we've got at least a baseline to understand something about what's going on in the room when we start to get to actual cooling. Okay. So my goal for the science fiction story, Search Quiet Wake, which I've been talking about for months here, my new attitude is, the goal is to increase its rejection count. It's only been rejected once. That's unacceptable. It should be rejected twice, 3, 4 times if need be, like that. So the plan is to do some of these rewrites to make it a little bit more accessible. I have a little blurb paragraph that I put at the front that I think sort of helps set the stage. And I talked to one of my early readers who liked it the way it was, and he said he could see how that might help, but he could also see how an editor might just say, get rid of it, like that, which is fine. If I get as far as having an editor and they want to get rid of it, that would be wonderful. But the goal then is, before the next update, to submit the story to get its second rejection from Clark's World magazine. And it's I thought, since I had sent it to Asimov's magazine, and I thought this was Arthur C. Clarke, but it's not. It's Neil Clarke, the editor of the magazine Clark's World. And look, the current issue has got a story by Greg Egan. Greg Egan's a big time science fiction writer. I am a Greg Egan fanboy. Here's the story. I haven't gone to read it yet, but they take open. They have an online submission system, a lot like the Asimov's things. They actually care about the cover letter, so I need to spend a little bit more time on that. And they Neil Clarke gives some hints on the very, very helpful on what you need to put in, what would be good to put in and what wouldn't be put in. But look at this. Our average response time is typically under 2 days. And it's because they reject everything. So my goal is, within, say, the next week, to make the accessibility rewrites to Search Quiet Wake, to get it in there and to get it rejected before the next update. So that's the plan on the story. And if there's news, interim news, I will mention it on the T2 Discord, T2 Tile Project Discord server that we have. So folks that are hip to Discord could check in there to get earlier news if there is any. Okay, that's the Search Quiet Wake story. Right. So then the only other point was to have some fun. I actually managed to do that too. And it's funny. I sort of imagine that folks who have actual lives and occasionally give like scientific talks or whatever it is, it kind of goes without saying that they have fun and they do these things. They go to movies, whatever the heck it is, but I kind of do this a lot of the time in the day, so sort of actually putting in, have some fun is an actual thing. So number one, I wrote these new verses for the 12 Days of Christmas, 12 Steps to Robust, and I'm actually trying to work on singing it. And I haven't sung since elementary school, since I was a soprano, and so I've been Googling random web pages about learn to drop your larynx and sing from your diaphragm, and so on, and watching random YouTube videos and so forth. And I think the long and short of it is I don't sound great. I'm not a singer, but I can sound okay on this specific song, the 12 Steps to Robust, except for Pick New Metrics, except for that which sails a little bit out of my range. My range is like about 4 notes wide, so I have to figure out what to do about that. But hey, it was a new thing, and it was actually kind of fun. And I'm recording little takes and then listening to them. Ouch! And it's better than it was. It's just a little sense of progress, and just like do any new thing, you get the low hanging fruit. So that was fun. In addition, we took a day trip. We drove out into the Jemez in northern New Mexico to look at the red rocks and see the old churches along the way. There's some red rocks. And even though it was like the absolute end of March, we actually managed to have a little lovely snowstorm to have our picnic in and so forth. So it was actually a lot of fun. So that was great. Okay, and that's it, really. 6 weeks. But now back on cadence, and so 2 weeks from now, April 26th. So the goal: bump the SQW rejection count. Try again on getting Gdro user spikes going, but also for the development, actually have a demo somehow of an external fan. I bought a fan that could be used, but I got to come up with something to drive a 12-volt supply for it, and some way it would be optimal to have some way to control the speed. It's got these little things in it, but I don't know exactly how to work that out and connect it to the laptop or a Raspberry Pi or something. We'll see. Maybe that'll end up counting as having some fun too. We shall see. Folks, whether you're here live or watching the updates later, thanks so much for coming. Europe is still at war. People are dying by the thousands. It's awful. But, you know, keep looking for hope and progress. Don't know what to say except, well, sent in some money, whatever, not doing very much here, but do a little bit, and then in the rest of the time, just sort of put one foot in front of the other and keep on trying to make progress, whatever it is. So we're doing all right. I hope y'all are doing all right too. Thanks so much for coming by.